Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So we have another hopefully interesting video here. So let me just grab the ticket. All right, this is 2003 Ford F150. It's a 4.0 liter. It's the Harley Davidson edition. It's a BA gas engine supercharged. Sorry. Customer complaint is a very long cranking to start, and I just brought the car in. I haven't even connected the scanner. All I did was grab the VIN number, put them in Identifix and all data ready for me to start, looking for information. And when I brought the car inside, it was just like three times, for like more than 10 seconds cranking and it didn't start. I was about to give up and then start. So I brought it in here. I tried one more time, didn't start the same way. So I want to bring you guys in with me to diagnose this car together. As you can see, still plenty of water on the fender. So, like I said, the car is cold. Uh, I have to do a whole bunch of other things like wheel bearings, transmission flush, and coolant flush. This is a 2003 with over 200,000 miles. You will see in a second, but it's a very well maintained car. It's a beautiful car. I really, really like it. You get that feeling even that has so many miles that it's a car that is being well taken care. Look at the engine compartment. It's clean with 230,000 miles. Congratulations on the owner of this car. And on Forum, doing a car that lasts this long and looks so good. I mean, this is a very good, very nice vehicle. All right, so let's stop talking and let me connect the scanner. I'm gonna put this on in the car and see what we got. All right, I'm not sure how much you will be able to see or hear, because again, these microphone takes all the noise away. So I'm going to get you guys close to the engine. Hopefully you will be able to see that belt on the supercharger. Maybe the front is the best position to get you here. Trying to be as gentle as possible, moving this up so I don't get you guys dizzy. And I know it's not light in there. Hold on, let me put one because my headlight would be with me. All right, so hopefully you guys can see that. I'm gonna crank the car. All right, I'm cranking now. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. 10 seconds to start. All right, so easy to reproduce the problem. Um, History on the vehicle. Well, for me, the first time I work on it, this car was actually looked by the dealer and they put a fuel pump, which obviously didn't fix the problem. All right, guys, so let's just start with ID in the vehicle. Hopefully, we'll do it automatic. I'm using the snap and swoosh for this. I have seen that, this our tail is a little slow working on 4. I got the bends going on. Okay, now I turn it off. Let's see if it is. Okay, it does. All right, so you can see that it is a supercharge. And I'm just going to do engine and powertrain. It's automatic transmission with AC. Let's see if we have any codes. Let's see memory codes. I didn't see any check engine light, so not sure if we will have anything in here. Okay, somebody erased the codes. That's why. And we got the coolant temperature too low. All right, that is a very important um, sensor. We know that we have a coolant that is not reported in the right temperature. It's going to mess up all the fuel trims, but we'll see if that is the case. All right, let's go over to generic functions, see if we could see the freeze frame and see what happens and what the computer collected at that time. No freeze frame data store. Awesome. That is no good. That's a problem, when you erase the codes. Please, people, if you're going to work in your car, then finish it. Otherwise, don't erase anything because you erase valuable information that we need. Test completed. It's kind of funny because, okay, now the evap is not completed. So as you can see, yes, it got erased. All the rest of the monitors are completed except for the evap, which if the coolant temperature is not correct, it will not go through. See the data display. I got the car off. I want to see what the coolant value or coolant temperature value is now. Fuel emissions, drivability. Let's see which one is the menu that we're going to use for this. I don't like a little bit this way that you cannot mix data pits because sometimes you're missing very important information. CHD 71. That is actually a little hot because I'm going to put the thermal camera to see what the temperature in the engine is. But, it's like I said, it's very cold outside, probably 38 degrees, 40 to have an engine that just run from there to here at this temperature. But, I might be wrong. Maybe it got a little hotter than what I think. And that is, I think it's a cylinder head temperature sensor. Do we have any other sensors for temperature? Let's do a custom list. If I can click on it. Not many pits as you can see. But this is a little easier for me to see. So definitely have the EAT, our temperature sensor, or intake temperature sensor. Looks like we got two. I don't need the voltage for this test. Not for this either. And it has two, cylinder head temperature and ECT, engine coolant temperature. Are those two separate sensors or is just one? We'll see. Let's take a look at the list view. Well, the coolant cylinder temperature and the coolant temperature on the engine are green. So most likely is the temperature that we have on the engine. It's a little hard for me not to have a freeze frame to go by, but with this temperature, engine should run good or start good. So let me check the temperature on the engine with my thermal camera, and we go from there. See if I, chase that pad or go for a cam crank or something else because I mean it's a very long crank and it can be still fuel pressure injectors leaking. Um, I didn't see any the smoke coming out of the tailpipe when I start a car, showing me that might be a leaking injector on the cylinder. Didn't feel any hard to move on the engine. The engine is spinning freely. I don't feel any problems like will be created with fuel on the cylinders. So all right, let me check the temperature. And just as a quick note, so you guys can see it, because I don't think I showed that. I was actually saying 230. No, it's 293,000 miles in a really well kept car. Another thing that I want to show since we are here, I'm in park. Look at the tach. And now it starts right away. Hmm. All right, here it is. All right, so now it is at one time really good, but you see, I cranking and no tach till it starts. I'm not sure, what the strategy for Ford is on that, but we'll see. Let me check the temperature first. All right, guys. Hopefully you can see that in there. The temperature in here is around 69 degrees, so might be correct what that was reading. I'm just looking at the engine. The nice thing of this one is it has a wide range of capture. It has a square and a dot that is constantly calibrating. But yeah, it seems like the engine temperature right now is around 69, 70 degrees. Hmm. Yeah, especially on the engine valley, it's actually 80 degrees right now. Very quickly raising the temperature just by cranking. It really is bad that I cannot check the freeze frame and I don't have any to go by. All right, so I can put this camera away. I was looking at the information on the P0125. Let me turn you guys this way so you can see what I'm talking about. Sometimes a little hard to adjust this in. Okay, that's good. Since I'm putting this away. So I was saying that, I was checking on the P0125, which is the code for the coolant temperature, and refers more for the thermostat not reaching the right temperature. And I mean, right now the engine is at 70 degrees, which is the in-room temperature. So I can disregard at least that is not going to cause what we have. If we would have seen, in there a minus 40, and then we have 70 degrees inside here, or an engine at 70 degrees, then yes, I would chase that. But that's not the case. All right, so I'm sorry, guys. Keep moving around and talking to you, but you cannot see me. All right, so I think that since I don't have an RPM, I wanted to see what the crank sensor location is on this engine, and go from that. Not sure. Let me check the scanner. I have to put the ignition on because I turn it off. Trying to save the battery as much as possible. I mean, I got a battery charger, but you guys see anything in there? Not really, right? Get you close to what I'm seeing too. So let's see what else we got in the data display for us to go by. And drivability, I don't think I see anything related to cam crank. Well, let me go back because I wasn't putting attention to that. Like sometimes, especially in GM, you got like a cam crank in sync, loop status, math. Yeah, I don't see anything in here that, I mean, we have a Spark Advance that I can go by, but that would not give me much. So let's cancel here and go back to the order list. Emissions, no, maybe fuel. I doubt it. It's a 2003, right? So probably looking for something that is not even in here. Did they select them all? Because sometimes it's a little hard to see like that. I also have injector faults in here. I'd like to see those. Do we have any faults in here? Let's check the fuel trim since I'm here. And this. Let's see the fuel pump, fuel tank pressure. We got the EAC in there. Fuel status. Let's take a look a little bit of this too, guys. See if we have anything that we can go by. And we have an RPM pit in here. I selected so many. Well, perfectly. That is exactly on one page. All right, so let's see how this goes. All right, move inside the car so we can get to see better, both of us. I'm holding the phone with my hands, so I'm sorry if it gets a little shaky. All right, so far we got no faults. Obviously, the car is not running. Fuel trims are off, 0. See if we got any. What is the RPMs? Right, the bottom third line. Yeah, but even now it started right away. Fuel trims are not so bad. Well, the short terms are an 11 each, which I mean, not so bad either. Spark advance is fine. EAC is in 69. Again, it's very cold engine. It's already in closed loop. No fault on the injectors. See if we get another long cranking. Yeah, that's what is bad. I lost the communication, but just cranking it, and it did have a long crank on this time. But I lose the communication while I'm doing that, and now it starts trying to take the ignition on and off really quick without losing the communication. You can see with the RPMs it's on 0 now. One more time. This is starting good now. Did I lost my window by just trying it? Right now it's an 84 degrees. Fuel power. Is that, hopefully that is just for the fuel pump. I have to read more on those pits to see what they are. If it's, I don't think it's an injection time. Yeah, now it's starting, guys. Now it's starting every time. Might have lost a window here to check because I need that to happen. Because if I have a easy to start car, there's nothing wrong with it, right? So let me see if I can reproduce this. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to let it cool down because as you can see now, the temperature is in 86 degrees. All right, be right back, guys. All right, guys, I decided to start connecting some leads to the camshaft and crankshaft. I want to see both. I got these from US Wave, sorry, ES Wave. Those are very nice probing probes. The nice thing about it is like you already have a, let's say, the needle you want and the banana adapter, so your lead is just one connection and it's flexible, which is great. All right, so things that is good from Snap-on, and I want to share this with you, is the guided component test for those that are not familiar. I just went and looked for engine crankshaft or CKP crankshaft sensor, and give you the test, the signature test, the resistance test, and that's what it says. And also tells you, what to connect. You have a sensor return and a positive line, which should be actually is number 2. Okay, hopefully you guys can see in there. So looking at the tab, and that's the harness side back probing. It doesn't show me the color, which is a little weird, but we'll see when we have the connection. The crankshaft sensor is located under the, uh, kind of like not under, like next to the compressor and the crankshaft. So looking at the connector itself, well, there's a thing that I can see, the weather pack. Let me see. See a little weird here on the weather pack. Not sure how much you guys will be able to see in there, but believe me, you're not missing much. The connector, let me See, I'm not sure you guys can see anything in there, right? How's that now? Oop. Okay, so hopefully that's better. So this crankshaft sensor is right here. The cam is up top on the driver's side. Yeah, it looks like it uses only one. That's as much as I can see from here. These are magnetic sensors, so it's just a two-wire AC generator. But I'm seeing the weather pack in here. It's a little push. All right, but looking at but that's not gonna give us an issue. Looking at what a snap-on is saying. So it's number one. It looks like a round and then a square. Let me see. Look like this. How they're looking at from the back. Let's put a number one on the round, which that will help me. Because then we have a square edge and a round. They said that the number one pin is on the round side of the connector. So we can put the back probe in there. All right, guys, I decided to use these extensions. They got a male and female, so I can disconnect the connector because the back is very hard to, uh, put a needle in it. I don't want to damage that weather pack or uh, do a, hole on the wiring. So I'm using this extension, and they had the banana adapter in here, so I can connect my lead. I did it this way, so hopefully it doesn't get, um, hit by the belt, which I don't think so. And the one that I'm going to use is this one. That's the one I need for the signal, as far as the snap-on is showing me. So I need to put the leads on it. So let me just set all the leads, set the um, oscilloscope. I'm going to use the picoscope for this, connect the the cam sensor, and then see what we see. Hopefully it's a long cranking again. I'm also letting the engine cool down by this time, so we'll see. All right, guys, I got the scope ready. Just a quick note on how I had everything connected. Um, I'm using what the Snap-on shows me on their guided component test. The cam is actually in reverse of what the crank connection is. Like this one is actually in two. It's supposed to be the CMP output or camshaft output. Um, as far as the scope, I'm using plus minus 5 volts on each channel DC, and I'm doing 500 milliseconds per division with 5 megasamples to see what I see. Let me just go back and read a bit of it of component information. Yeah, the CMP camshaft sensor is also magnetic and it produces an AC voltage signal. And even though we're DC, we will see that in here. It's not telling me about the size of the waveform. Signature test, it shows just a one notch. Should change with RPM with no dropout or glitches. Look for amplitude to be equal peak to peak on the waveform. All right, so let me start the recording and I'm going to crank the car. Since it's a quick capture, I only have 10 screens, so I have to do this quick. Hopefully it doesn't start. We'll see when I put the ignition on. One change. All right, it's not starting. Great. And then start. I think we capture what we need to see in there. Let's just stop this. This is what I love about the scope, guys. A lot of people are like, oh, why are you going with the scope? I'm like, how are you going to see this, right? Okay, let me, this is where the car starts. So it looks like the amplitude, I got really, really big here, more than what I have. If we take a look in here, let's do, so my blue channel is on the camshaft sensor and the red is on the crankshaft. I can apply a filter. I don't think I really need to. What I'm going to do is change the scales a little bit and do it. But before I do that, let me move you guys 1 second. Sorry for that, but I need to save this info just in case the car starts and I'm not able to capture again. So save us. Make, we know it's a Ford. Ford F150 2003. I just like to, primary full fuel petrol. It's an 8-cylinder. Capacity 5.4 liters. I think that's all we need. So in here we got cam, cranking. I'm gonna put that in here, and then cranking. We can select the labels in here as well. Let's do that too. Camshaft sensor, AC, and blue. I mean red is the crankshaft. Sorry to take the time to with you to do this, but it's part of what we're doing, right? Some might also find this helpful for them to know how to do it. And saved. I'm gonna put here crank, like that I know what I was saving, and then cranking, no, or long cranking. I mean long cranking. All right, so before we go into the other, capture, so we can see that we got a big amplitude in here, but while I was cranking, the amplitude in the crank sensor was really, really, really slow or really small. Very, very small. We can apply a filter to here. So let's activate a filter. That looks a lot better, right, guys? And let's do that same thing in channel B. That's not, that looks a lot better, right? Because it was really, really bad. So we can, start putting mat or, measure. Because that's the nice thing about Pico. We can measure how many teeth or tooth we have here. And time wise too. We can add a measurement in channel A, and we're gonna do edge count, the whole trace now between the rulers, and okay. And it says that we have, um, oh, I did it wrong, and it's channel A, so my mistake. Let's do another one, doesn't matter. So it's channel B. That's our crankshaft. So edge count, and again in between the rulers, and it's measuring 70. I don't think that's correct. All right, let me go back to the crankshaft information in here. Component information, it says it should be 35 teeth. I don't think we got 70. I might did something wrong, so let me remove this. Actually, let me, and instead of an edge count, falling edge or raising edge. That's what I should have done. It's not doing it. Again, I did it on, did it on raising edge, 80%. Let me see what I'm doing. Threshold, yeah, between ruler, raising edge. 1 second, guys. Somebody's calling me for help, so I'll be right back. All right, guys. Sorry for the interruption, but well, normal in the shop. All right, it's doing something wrong. Threshold 80%. So I guess that's not what I raising rate. Oh, rate. See, raising age count. Again, my mistake. So 35. Perfect. So that's exactly what we need to see. 35 teeth. Crankshaft mounted trigger wheel has 35 teeth. So we got the 35 teeth. On the description that we have from a Snap-on, it says that the crankshaft signal overrides 1.5 volts ICM bias signal. So 1.5 volts, if we see the amplitude of this waveform is, maybe this peak, we can remove this now. The upper peak is in 1.1 volt, but this one is only in 955 millivolts. In the lower section is minus 200. I don't see, on the component description or either the signature test what actually will be the low side. But if we see where the car started, which is on our next capture, look at the amplitude in here. It's bypassing our screen. So we're going from, wow, almost minus 3 volts to 1 volt, and then actually a switch. You see, from here to here, that's the same crank. So since we got this saved, I'm going to change the voltage now to 10 volts. Same thing, actually, I think if we move this out of the way, oh, why am I moving? Oh, because I am grabbing that. I actually got to zoom in. Yeah, the amplitude on the, let me see one thing, guys. Let me take the channel A first off just to see the crankshaft by itself. So channel A is the blue, perfect. And now that we have this, because it looks like it might reach some points in here higher than the 5 volt limit, but only the upper picks. So let's take a look at here. We gotta get one. Yeah, I think we're good. We can, scale it down a little bit so it fits the screen better. Again, nice about Pico, so we don't have to go there. And we can put rulers in here. And now we have, 4.5 to minus 1.5. So it's a total of 6 volts. So we don't really need to go any further. We can see all this stuff in here. It was just, the zoom in that I used for that, it wasn't the right thing to do. Let me actually move here. Because if we see, after, probably it's better if I see it here. Where are we? Yeah, I'll be a lot far. I want to know where this signal switch, because in here it switched down. You see that? Again, nice of Pico that you can see the whole map. So even when the engine started, I didn't let it run too much because I wanted to see, what I didn't want them to let it warm up, but this is now with the engine running. the amplitude of the form goes from 2.5 to minus 2.2, so 4.5 volts. This is actually a good waveform. I don't think there's anything wrong with the reluctor wheel because I don't see up and downs on this waveform right here that will tell me that the reluctor is damaged or with particles. This sounds more like a bed sensor. So we can go back to the next capture. Yeah, look at this. Same timing. What is this, you know? Let's change the capture. You see, look at the, hopefully you guys can pick those rulers in here. But yeah, the amplitude went completely like to nothing. Can take the offset to normal, which is 1. I don't need it in here. Let's take a look of 1. And this is where the car is not starting again. It's reaching 2 volts and 900. Am I where the car didn't start? Let me go back another one. Yeah. I mean, we can see the huge difference, and probably right here, this is the big difference. But the funny thing is why it's making it, you know, jump from like perfect to not. This sensor produces its own waveform, and it's not picking up to like, you know, like almost a start. Let's bring back the cam in here. I'm gonna take the rulers. And now let's turn off B to see the amplitude on the cam sensor. Both of them. That is weird. I mean, obviously, we cannot expect to have the same amplitude with the car not running. All right, guys, I decided to put a third channel now. I got in the same, you know, capture division time-wise, and I add the third one for the battery. I want to see what the battery voltage and waveform looks, see if we have any AC, you know, rip coming from the alternator, or is this leaking coils. I don't feel a misfire or anything like that, but I mean, sometimes it's hard to see that, you know, it's still not big enough to create a misfire, but it's big enough to create an issue on the grounds and load the grounds. And when you have, you know, magnetic sensors like this, it creates an issue. So I have the third channel, which is the green channel, connected just to the battery. All right. For the sensors cam, I'm using the battery ground, and for the crank, I'm using a ground on the block right under it because that's how I had it rigged. So let me crank the car again. I'm at least being lucky enough that the car is not starting. At least it's doing the same thing the long cranking. So here we go again. So it's still cranking and cranking and cranking. And it's right after like 15 seconds. Gonna let us stabilize a little. Gonna capture just a little more. See what we see. All right, good enough. I don't want to let it warm up. And let's just stop this before it changes. All right, let me take a look at this and I'll be right back. All right, guys, I know the angle is not going to be the best for you guys to see, so I apply a filter. Well, let me remove that and get the zoom out so we all see the same thing as I'm seeing. Let's go to the first capture. All right, this is when the engine is cranking. As you can see, even though, you know, the battery signal is really noisy. And I'm straight to the battery, so that's the best ground you can have, right? We have a lot of spikes. Still, I'm not sure if I can consider those an issue with secondary or so yet, but they do look like, I don't know, it looks like for me like a secondary leaking. That's a little too much zoom for a capture on voltage. I'm going to activate a filter and do a measurement on the cranking. Remember, this is cranking, so we cannot still this consider, AC ripple, because this is, there's actually the cylinder humps. And if we bring, which one will be the best? Crank is so noisy that it's a little hard to, but we can put, cursors in here and do a 720 from notch. I mean, just a close one, right? From notch to notch. 360, 720. So which you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then again. I cannot really take this as the full tap dead center because I'm not sure if that is tap dead center for the crankshaft sensor. Now, reluctor doesn't mean that for me. All I can see is the humps are very even. I don't have any, again, problems compression or anything like that. So, but so we do have the A humps, which is, the most important part for me there. Cranking voltage is healthy. 1074, minimum 1035. Not bad. We go over to right here where the car starts. This is a weird drop in here. Why did that drop in there? It went from 14. Oh, that's not really that huge of a drop, but yeah, it was like almost 1 volt. So the alternator didn't charge as much, but it stayed, on 13 something. And it's very steady. Very, very steady. It's only one time the alternator did that. And we know exactly where the car starts in here. You can see, right here, doing the crank, 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 and then this is as a start, and then boom, finally run. We can apply a filter on the other ones as well. I'm going to do that with the filters. Still nothing conclusive. All right, guys, I've been analyzing the forms a little bit, and I don't see anything wrong on the battery voltage ripple test. I did AC waveform, so I'm going over 1 plus or minus 1 volt. This is when the car starts. I still see, on the cam sensor, kind of like the multi-strike happening on the signal. But if we go back to where the car is not running, I don't see any of that. So this is also telling me that we don't have any ignition happening. So I'm going to check the secondary or primary on the coils. I'm going to find cylinder number 1, and I'm going to go to number 1 ignition coil to see what is happening in there. That's my next thing, and probably I will do an injector waveform as well. So we'll see that.